Let's turn to retail. Number of big reports this week calling out some weak spending in February. Macy's today says, quote, the consumer health is under pressure as the markets also digest comments from, for example, the Commerce Secretary earlier this hour about tariffs. Joining us this morning with his take on what's next for retail, J. Rogers Kniffen CEO Jan Kniffen. Jan, great to see you. Thanks for the help today.
Hey, couldn't be happier to be here.
Can you sort of weave all of this retail commentary into one thread, at least this week?
Yeah, the thread right now is the fourth quarter was great despite an awful January due to the weather. February was awful due to the weather. And we're either going to see a big pickup here in March as we get to Easter, because even in that horrible month of February, we had a really good Valentine's Day. So we're either going to see a big pickup here toward the end of March, or we're all going to panic. So far, I believe we'll see a big pickup because the consumer still looks really healthy, even if they're nervous. You know, we saw them push their savings rate up. That always makes you nervous, but it still means they had money. And so our spending has been pretty good on everything other than weather-related items. And the traffic has been really slow, and I think that's all weather-related as well. It was restaurants as well as retail establishments. So I'm not too concerned yet, and the numbers today wouldn't make you nervous at all. The numbers tomorrow might make you really nervous for retail. But I'm not seeing it out there with the consumer, and I'm not hearing it from the retailers. They're seeing a little weakness, mostly the weather, and they're worried that some of it is nervousness.
Right. Some tried to use the spread between the Bloomingdale's comps and the Macy's comps today to argue that we're increasingly reliant on the high end. You agree?
Well, my picks for 2025, the vendors, Ralph Lauren, Nike, Lugaloo, Deckers, Levi, LVMH, Hermes, everybody either aspirational or high-end. So I guess by definition, I must agree. And then when I look at the store operators, though, I'm all about Tapestry and Boot Barn and Walmart and Costco and Home Depot and Dick's Sporting Goods and Tractor Supply. 4 of those are the best retailers in the country, and they're very defensive. So I'm kind of on both sides of that. I believe luxury and aspirational retail is where the customer is going to be, but I also think being a big, strong operator that's really hitting the ball hard is really good place to be when tariffs are a problem and you've got to deal with that in the supply chain.
We're just going to ask what makes one retailer better equipped to deal with tariffs than another, because most of the stuff we don't make here in this country. Maybe we will someday with the help of robots, as Secretary Letnick said. But in the meantime, who's going to deal with it better than others?
Power is what works. Walmart has more power and negotiating skills and better logistics teams than anybody perhaps in the world, but certainly here in the country. And they'll handle it really, really well. On the other hand, Macy's will handle it well, too, because they've been doing this forever. And we've all dealt with tariffs and cross-border taxes forever if we've been in this business. And they've got teams to do that, too. So people who are skilled in that and still relatively healthy as far as balance sheet, can spend money, whatever they have to do, they'll do well. So I think those big, strong ones I said, if you're Walmart or Costco or Home Depot or Dick's Sporting Goods, you can handle this because you're well-financed, you've got great teams, you're executing flawlessly. You'll just do better than the people who are struggling when it comes to dealing with tariffs and what to do with the customer. So am I worried about the tariffs? Yes. Am I terrified by the tariffs? No. We all know how to do this. The real question is all we get 10 or 20% on China, or do we really get 25% on both Canada and Mexico? And then the whole economy gets dislocated, and then the consumer gets nervous. And yes, we're all terrified that they quit spending and we go into a consumer-led recession. But if we're just tariffing China, China's economy is on its face, and it's a big export economy. They'll have to absorb a big chunk of this. They did last time, they will this time. And then we'll also see substitution, we'll see trade down, we'll see all the stuff we see when the consumer has to deal with it. And
Sure.
the retailer will react to all that. And the big, strong ones will react better.
Yeah, that kind of puts into context the headlines regarding Walmart today and some of their suppliers. Jan, we'll learn some more in the morning with the jobs number. Thanks, Jan Kniffen.